أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Chapter 73, the cover, and this is the third revealed surah, and so we are going to finish it tonight, inshallah. Only 20 verses. Okay, very good. Again, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Go ahead, please, Mohammed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. O you coverer, stay up at night only for a little while, half of it or a little less, or a bit more, and read the Quran from cover to cover. We will soon reveal to you an important message. Indeed, the meditation by night is most effective and has a lasting legacy. Surely during the daylight there are other things for you to keep you occupied. And remember the name of your Lord and get closer and closer to Him. Lord of the East and the West, there is no God except He. You shall therefore take Him as an advocate, and be patient in the face of their utterances and ignore them in a nice manner. And leave the rejectors to me, those who have been blessed generously, and give them a little time. Indeed, we have punishment and an inferno, and choking food and a painful suffering. The day when the ground and the mountains will tremble, and the mountains will be like a weightless pile. We have indeed sent to you a messenger as a witness over you, just as we sent a messenger to Pharaoh. However, Pharaoh disobeyed the messenger, so we inflicted upon him a disastrous punishment. Therefore, how can you protect yourselves if you lose faith on a day when children turn gray-haired? The vacuum ruptures because of him. His promise will be fulfilled. Indeed, this is a reminder. Therefore, let whoever wills take a path to his Lord. Your Lord knows that you indeed stay up nearly 2/3 of the night, or half of it, or a third of it, and so do a group of those with you. However, God has designed the night and the day. He knows that you cannot do this all the time. He thus has accepted your repentance. Therefore, read from the Quran whatever you can. He knows that some of you are ill and others are traveling, seeking God's bounty, and yet others are striving in the cause of God. So read from it as much as possible, and observe the contact prayer, and give the cleansing charity, and give God alone of righteousness. And whatever good you send forth on behalf of your souls, you will find it as a better reward with God. And ask God for forgiveness, for indeed God is all forgiving, all merciful.
MashaAllah. Thank you. Very good. Okay. Okay, very good. Are there any questions, any observations, any comments?
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Alaikum assalam. Yes, go ahead, please.
I was saying, looking at the last ayat that Mandra read, it's long,
yes.
And it's all about God, and it just mentions God, so that everything you need is right there. It's just a very powerful ending.
Yes, very powerful. Yeah. Very powerful.
And then I just want to ask you about the one where the children are grayed hair. Is that the one that changes from? I'm just asking, from the woman aborts her fetus, or is that just another ayat? I don't remember.
Which verse is it? The verse before that?
Yeah, where the children are gray-haired when the time is over.
Yes.
The,
17. 17.
Yeah, the children turn
Yeah.
gray-haired.
Yes.
Is that a different verse from the one that says, "And a woman shall abort her fetus" at the end, or is this the same one in a different translation?
Yeah. Well, these are the things that it's actually beyond our wildest imagination. We really do not know what that day looks like, and God is describing these things for us, and He's telling us that time and space and everything would not really work the same way that it does right now. Okay, so it takes a long time for a person to become gray hair. I mean, you're not gray hair when you're born, but this is the time that or the event that happens, that time has a different clock on it and a different thing. So it's not working the same way that it does now. So God is describing these things to us basically for our limited um, um, information that we have of that day, and it's very difficult to fathom that day and understand it.
Okay. I had one more thing to say
Sure.
Your sermon today. It kind of left me. Forget how it left me. I was thinking of the sword that says this book, the Quran, supersedes the other scriptures, and I'm thinking that it's not so much how many words are put into it, or the fact that even Muhammad exists in this, but it's the fact that the mathematics verifies everything in the previous scriptures that God said.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as I said, we are privileged with this thing, with this information that we have today. That we really do not believe in hearsay and things. And if there was nothing like this, you would have had to take it on faith. You see, but God has endowed us with this information that that we see every week. Okay, and it is really humbling for us that what have we done to deserve this? Let's put it that way. Okay, and so God has chosen us for this, to be the recipient of all of these these windows to paradise, and it is a unique opportunity for us, and we should be grateful to the end, and may He consider us worthy of this, and reveal more in the future. So God says that this, we'll read it inshallah next week, and He says that one of the point to this whole mathematical structure is that it says it increased the faith of the faithful. That's what it does. So our faith increases every time we hear this, and now we have more information. I mean, 2810 till now was not a number that people looked at, okay? Because when you look at the number of verses in the Quran, the number of word Allah in the Quran, you always think of 2698. Now this comes 2810, and so if you look at 2810, that's what it is. It's 2698 plus 112, and those 112, the number 112 comes from the fact that there are 112 verses that are unnumbered in the Quran, but they contain the word Allah in them. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so according to that, it becomes 2810. But then it actually, what it does, it manifests itself in this beautiful structure that we all witness today. But they all again point back to the fact that 9 has 127 verses, and this is a huge privilege that we have. It's an honor. It's a beautiful gift that God has given us every week, and we should be humbled by this, and we should be grateful to Him beyond our imagination. Okay, any other comments or question observations on this chapter?
Salam alaikum, Ali.
Walaikum salam. Yes, Tasneem, go ahead, please.
When we are up 2/3 of the night or half the night or all the various times that we are up, we usually do meditation, glorification or repentance. But here I need a clarification, because here Allah says read from the Quran whatever you can. So
Yep.
we have to spend that part of the night reading the Quran, or any of these that I just mentioned, including reading.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this case, what God is saying, you see, look at the order of revelation. Okay, this is the third revealed overall. So only 2 chapters were revealed, and so God obviously is not talking to Prophet Muhammad, okay, or those people around him. He's talking to you and I, okay, yes. Because now we have the Quran. It didn't exist at that time when this surah was revealed. You see that? Yes. So this is basically a forward projection of time, and this is this time that we have the Quran available to us. So we can read half of it, or we can read the whole thing, but we have to read it in some order, and that's what God is telling us. Okay, so He's talking to you and I.
So no, my question is, if when we are up any part of the night, we have to spend all that time reading the Quran only, or just the other things?
Of course. I mean, you have seen how much information we are getting from the Quran.
Oh yes.
Okay? Yeah. Of course. I mean, there is nothing else you can do. Okay? Anything else would be a waste of time.
Okay.
Simple as that. So this is the only thing that worthy of reading. That, we get so much information out of this. And as I said, people, scientists, all these people, they're basically on the wrong way, the wrong path. They're wasting their time. Okay? This, you heard of quantum mechanics and all this nonsense. Okay, these are all nonsense. All of it. Okay? It's a waste of time. God is telling you what cosmology is. In the Quran, He tells you exactly what the thing is. And He tells you this is not based on mathematical equations. That's the only tool we have. The only tool we have in this universe is mathematical equation. And that's the reason behind it, is because God inspired that. He says He established a balance.
Yes.
Okay? When He said He established a balance, means that they were supposed to obey mathematical equations. But that doesn't tell you what it was before that. Obviously, the balance wasn't there. Balance equations are a law. Okay? And the creation was not based on that. That's what God is telling us. So all of these, early universe, Big Bang, and all of this nonsense that people are talking about, okay? I teach this stuff, okay? Well, my point is that, we do this, but this is based on equations, and so what was before that, we don't know, and then they apply the equations to it, okay? Which is wrong, because it's based on something which is not based on equations. Okay? As I said, I always say this, laws come after the creation. Laws do not come before the creation. Okay? It's like that you delay the invention of the automobile because the traffic laws are not there. Okay? Traffic laws are a consequence of the invention of the automobile. When the automobile was invented, there were no traffic laws. The invention of the automobile actually required traffic laws. Okay, so it's the same way. The creation of this required this balance that God talks about, okay, in the Quran, and over and over and over again, that the law of the equations came after the creation, not before. So applying that to before that is complete nonsense and is wrong, because we are using something that didn't exist.
Yes. True.
Anyway, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Anwar. Yes, go ahead, please.
So, if I may, I would like to make a small comment here. When you
Sure.
were talking about the maths and
Yes.
Pharaoh, my memory went back far back when I started reading about the maths, starting with Dr. Rashad's translation, and when he talked about the maths, I was so overwhelmed by the simple fact of the multiples of 19's, the concept of it in the Quran. And I, for myself, am a novice in mathematics. But when I listen to the maths that you're talking about every single week, it just boggles the mind, and I keep on asking God to increase my knowledge. And now I realize the magnitude of this message that God is giving to us all. And it's so profound and so beautiful. And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, very good. I mean, as I say, it's very humbling for us. Okay?
Yes.
And as I said, what makes us to deserve this? Okay?
Absolutely.
And it is really humbling, and this is something that God has given us as a immense gift. Okay? You cannot assign a value to it, how great this gift is. And it actually opens our eyes that we can actually think better, we can see things better, we can be hopeful to what's going on. And he tells us, I mean, for the first time, if you look at this, okay, that we just read it today in chapter 84, okay, all of these things that we read in there, this is all cosmology, okay. The vacuum ruptures, okay. The matter loses cohesion. That means the laws are gone. The laws as we know it today are gone. This law, you see, the reason that atom is bound together like that.
Wow.
Okay. The reason that electron binds to the nucleus is because of the equations. You see, once you remove that equation balance thing, it loses cohesion. It has no way for the affinity of the electron and the proton to interact using the electromagnetic force. Okay. So he gives us all of this information that was happening actually on that day. That the laws as you know them are not like this. Okay, it says, we just read it, the mountains are going to be like fluffy wool.
Yeah.
Okay? So gravity is gone. Okay? Can you imagine that? This is what it is. Okay, and so that's why I was saying that, when Fariel asked that, that we really cannot fathom these things because we're not used to it. You see?
So I remember one day Ben told me, he said, Anwar, this is just, we were talking about the maths, and he said, Anwar, this is just the beginning. Wait till you find out later on what happened. This is so immense. This is so beautiful. This is so intense. And I realized now what he was saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Very good.
And God rest his soul.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Any other comments or I hope that you guys are okay in northern United States and Canada from this cold, this Arctic blast, and inshallah you can keep warm there.
By God's grace, we are doing well, so we are managed.
Yeah, you're by the body of water there, which is the Pacific Ocean. But inland, it's brutally cold in Canada.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, we are getting all of it actually down here to Louisiana on Tuesday.
Wow.
And it's amazing. Yeah, it's coming all the way down here, and the wind chill is going to be 6 degrees here Tuesday night.
Wow.
Which is very cold. Yeah, and this is 6 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay.
Wow.
Which is well below 0 in Celsius.
Yeah. We are getting like something like -15, -20 here, so far.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. You guys are used to it.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking, Dr. Fazely.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Yeah, I just wanted to say that you guys are okay, inshallah, and keeping warm. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum, this is Parvez.
Walaikum salam, Parvez. Yes, go ahead, please.
What is this first ayah talking about? Oh, you cover us. That we all cover something?
Yeah, all of us cover things. Okay.
The truth?
Yeah, whatever it is, we're not forthcoming with those things. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We keep some stuff to ourselves. Okay. And the very first meeting that we had here in Baton Rouge, I remember that. And during the khutbah, I said that the only one that you share all of your secrets is God. That's a fact. And that's the only God and God alone can hear your secrets, and you have no shame, you have no embarrassment. You share all of your secrets with him, and he knows it. And in spite of all of that, he doesn't really judge you. He always leaves the door open, okay, that you can come back to me. Don't worry about it. And if you share those secrets, if you do not cover them, and say to somebody else, okay, they'll kill you immediately. Okay? For all of the bad things that we have inside us and the bad things that we have done in our lives. Only God. Only you can share them with God. And a lot of people don't even think about this. Okay? Your deepest, darkest secret that you have, you can only share it with God alone and no one else.
Definitely. And this surah ends with God is all forgiving, all merciful.
Exactly. Okay.
Where it started and where it ended. Amazing.
Yeah, it is. But we look at this and then and the thing is that the feeling that you have inside you, okay, forget about everybody else. It doesn't matter. Okay? The feeling that you have when you share things with God, okay, is such a feeling of comfort, okay, that, as I said, he doesn't make you feel bad. You're not embarrassed. You share everything and he knows it. And in spite of all of that, okay, he gives you a chance. He gives you another chance. He gives you love. He gives you forgiveness. He gives you mercy. Okay? And as I said, you cannot, a lot of people say, oh, well, our forefathers, this and that, the others, would they go to heaven or hell? Or, they act as though they are more forgiving than God is. Okay? Had those people shared their secrets with you, you would hate them. You would never forgive them for what they have done. Okay? Only God is the one who actually tolerates that. Okay? He never judges you. He always leaves the door open. And in spite of all of those things, okay, he finds a way to forgive you. Okay? No matter what you have done. Okay, we have it on the, always refer to 2570, that he even changes your past. Okay? So retrocausality, so to speak. That you become basically born again. Okay? And that's amazing. That somehow your sins become credit. Can you imagine that? Yeah. That's how God goes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Salam, everyone.
Walaikum salam. Yes, salam alaikum. How are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. On last verse, we were just talking about it. It has the 7 word God. I think this is the only verse.
Yeah.
And it has the most word of God in all the Quran.
Yeah.
total of 7.
Yeah.
And the first one that has the most is 282, I believe.
Yes, in case.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, loaning money to somebody.
Yeah, and that has 6 total. So 6 and 7 is the first one and the last. Just an observation I noticed. And in verse 15, if you scroll down a little bit, verse 15.
15 or 18?
15. We send you
messenger,
a messenger. Yeah? So Shahidan, a witness among. See, so it's a messenger that's living with you. And that's how I think, a contemporary. Because remember, Pharaoh's messenger of Pharaoh was the one who was with them. It was Moses. So this is talking to us, and this is telling us that we have to really behave and do not act like Pharaoh, because we see the 16 and says, and then Pharaoh disobeyed, and you know what happened after that.
Exactly. It is a huge responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. Rejection of God's messenger is taken very seriously by God. Okay, people who do that, they are not going to succeed. As I said, they don't have peace, they don't have contentment, they don't have security, they don't have anything. They're always in fear. This is not a life that you want to go through in this world. And that's what God is saying. You see, this is comparing to Pharaoh. See what happened to Pharaoh. Okay, look at it. Okay. However, Pharaoh disobeyed the messenger, and so we afflicted upon him a disastrous punishment. So it's not going to be a life of contentment and fulfillment. Nothing like that. It's going to be a life of fear and insecurity, and all kinds of bad things could happen to you. Okay, it's burden on your mind all the time. It's not a good thing. The reason is because people disobey the messenger, and God doesn't take it lightly. Walaikum salam. Any other comments or question observations?
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Miriam. Yes, go ahead, please.
Salam, everyone. The verse, I'm going to just go to it quickly. The verse that we read about the patience, which means, sorry, I was just, my screen. Okay, it's the verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, and be patient in the face of their utterances and ignore them in a nice manner. So
yes.
I often pause there are, I think, less than maybe 10 verses where God uses Jamilan. So which means in a nice manner, in a gracious manner, wherever. But I noticed that he applies it because there is another verse in which he says about the patience, wasbir sabran jamilan. And the same expression is used. The same thing about in the divorce. So when they separate, it's a separation that is jamilan, and so on. So which means at God, there is patience. There is a difference between patient and a gracious patience, if I can say that. The same thing here. There is when we ignore somebody, there is just ignoring the way the majority of people do, or there is what God is calling us to do, is to ignore also in a very gracious way. So a lot of this, what I would describe aspect of our behavior can be done in like the reaction that everybody knows, but can also be done in a very gracious way, and God is more pleased. It's almost like the zakat. So if it's anonymous or done publicly, charity, sorry, done publicly, both are accepted, but God would prefer the one in an anonymous. That's better. So I see the same thing in this verse is about patience, but also when we try to not pay attention to someone for whatever reason, that there are two different ways of doing it. Maybe the standard, what I call the standard way, but also there is always a better way that is preferred by God the Almighty.
Yes, exactly.
So, and it's not an easy thing to do, by the way. So I wanted just to point to that because I was focusing on the nice, you translate it as a nice manner, but actually it's almost like a beautiful ignorance or a nice ignorance, something like that. So so that's what I attracted. Thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Any other comments, observations, or discussions?
Dr. Fazely, salam.
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead.
It's about the verse 8. So, and remember the name of your Lord and get closer and closer to Him. So tabattal in the Arabic word, it's the He here. It's not about the name of the Lord, or which means we remember the name, because it doesn't say remember your Lord. Remember the name of your Lord, and maybe reflect or ponder on what that name means, or is it truly about getting closer? I mean, yes, we need to get closer to God, but in this particular verse, isn't it about reflecting maybe on the name of God when we remember the name?
Yeah, that could also be mention the name of your Lord or commemorate the name of your Lord. I think that would be a better thing than rather than remember. Okay? Yeah. So what goes Rebecca? So it would be a better translation and commemorate the name of your Lord instead of remember. Okay? Yeah. And get closer and closer to Him. I think that would be better. So I'll change that.
Oh, no problem. Because I remember when you were talking about Al-Wasi', and really before, my understanding of Al-Wasi', the expander, was limited until you described about the expansion of the universe. A lot of things are happening that we are even not aware as of now, as we speak. So since then, I always thought, now every name of God, I have to really reflect on the magnificence of these names. Yeah. And thank you so much, because every time you talk about something, it makes me go back to one of these names and realize indeed how like when you said also that we live within God.
Yes, exactly.
Within God, so muhit, al-muhit. So so it made me really, it went beyond that, beyond my initial understanding, and I want to thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for listening, and thank you for taking it to heart. This is on your part, obviously. It's not. Yeah, a lot of people listen and they don't hear it, or they throw it behind their back and they go about their own business and stick to the ground. And as I said, chapter 48, he said they were happy with the pride of the day of ignorance. Okay, so a lot of people they prefer ignorance over knowing and knowledge. Yeah, it's very sad. But anyway, that's yeah.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Any other comment or question or observations on this chapter? Okay. Let me just gonna go to our this one here. Oops. It's all right. Okay. You all can see my screen here, and as you see here, this is a line here which has an index of 341, and 341 is 11 times 31 and 11 31st. You see, I have it here. Okay. Let us go back to the last week findings. Look at 341. Recall that generated 341, 19, and 30. And moreover, 341 is equal to 11 times 31, and 11 31st prime is 9127. So here it has all of these. This is the index of all of these different things in different domains: individual twin prime, semi-prime, tri-prime, quad prime, and sex prime. And you see the last one, 7320. And we just finished this chapter, 7320. Okay? This is the third revelation, and it tells you that Surah 9 is supposed to have 127 verses. Okay? So then we talked about all of these in here, lower thing. Look up from the above table. Chapter 73 has 20 verses. 1820, 20th composite is 2145. 1820 is the total number of verses with the word God in the Quran. Recall from the past sessions that 1, 8, and 2 generate 2, 1971, where you have 2 times 19 times 71, which is 2698, the total figures of the word God in the Quran, not including the unnumbered bismillahs. Okay? So I have discussed 1157 and 1378 previously, generate 9127. Okay? Milan also pointed out that the 1157 composite happens to be 1378, so they're all intertwined. Okay? 341st individual twin prime is 7561, and we see that in the above table that 7561 is also 475th Gaussian prime, and 475 is equal to 5 times 5 times 19. We discussed it today. But 5519's composite is 6346, which I said in the total number of verses in the entire Quran, including the unnumbered ones. It's absolutely amazing. It boggles the mind. Okay, and in this one is actually an emir, this 7561. And if you write this emir, it becomes 1657. But 1657 in base 19 is equal to 9127 in base 10. And it just goes on and on and on. And as I said, so we read it tonight, and they're all lining up here. Okay, look at it in this table. Okay, and they all pointing out to the mathematical features of the Quran, how it's actually generated. Any questions, any comments, any observations? So let me just go for today here. We had, okay. So today, you remember I start with the 19th semi-prime, which was 55. And 5519 composite is 6346. And then, so I said this. Okay, note that this is for the entire number of verses in the Quran, including the 112 unnumbered Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And so we go down, and then it has all of these other features to it. 5519. 5519, the adjective prime is 144167. 144167 is an emirp. It is 28/10th emirp, and 28/10th is total frequency of the word God, including the ones in the 112 unnumbered Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Can you imagine that? Okay. Again, it goes back again. Okay, you didn't have enough. Here you go. 5519th lonely prime is 75577. 28/10th harmonic prime is the same number, 75577. Again, it lines up 28/10 with 5519. Why? Because it wants to stress the fact that 5519th composite 6346. 2110 is the total frequency of the word God, including the ones in the 112 number opening statements, but 6346 is also the total number of verses in the Quran, okay, including the unnumbered ones. So these two are going hand in hand, 2110 and 6346. Okay. And then finally here, 2010th lucky prime happens to be 256567. 256567 is the 9127th additive prime, and 9 has 127 verses. Okay? So God is telling you to look, no matter how you count the frequency of my names in the Quran, this is going to come up to 9127. That's what he wants to tell us. Okay? And again, this is you know, this is a huge sign from God that He's telling us, and as I said, it's full of hope, and inshallah it will increase our faith, and so we'll become better servants of God. And that's the most important thing that could happen to us.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Yes.
It also reminds me of which one of the Lord's marvels can you deny?
Exactly.
It's a perfect place for it.
Yeah. 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 Okay, anything else? Any other comments, observations? Okay, so let's go ahead and do our al-Fatihas, and we'll finish.